Good evening, dear friends, gentle friends. So happy to be with you this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Nicholas Viselli. I am the artistic director of Theater Breaking Through Barriers, and I am indeed coming to you live and in person, right here from the heart of the Thunderdome in Midtown Manhattan. And on behalf of all of our artists, I would cordially like to welcome you all to Theater Breaking Through Barriers' second Hybrid Playmakers Intensive, or HPI 2, live and in person. Boy, happy Saturday, everyone. I have to tell you, it's been an extraordinary week for us. We've managed to create 11 brand new original short plays in such a short span of time. And I have to tell you, it's maybe on your end, you sort of see, I won't necessarily call it a finished product because this is a workshop. That means the works are in progress. That said, there's a lot of moving parts here because we are actually rehearsing 11 plays with different casts. There's over 50 artists that are participating in this. So that's 50 gears and a lot of moving pieces. And so we began this, we actually came together in just before Christmas in December, and everyone paired off into groups, and then the shows were written, and now we get to share them with you. So again, we had an extraordinary week. We saw just five incredible shows Monday through Friday, and now happy Saturday. We are finishing off what I will call the live, the live on screen, the live virtual portion of our program with another amazing play. This piece is written by Conor Hanney. Now I have to tell you, I had the great fortune of meeting Conor a few years ago, certainly before the pandemic, and he's certainly one of the busiest artists that I've ever met. He's writing like crazy. He's based out in Los Angeles, so he's doing a lot of writing for a lot of TV shows and streaming shows, and also writing musicals. And he's just so immersed. And I just feel so incredibly fortunate that we were able to get him to write for us tonight. He wrote a really amazing piece, which I'm looking forward to talking about afterwards. The play is called Cross. It was directed by the amazing AhDream Smith. AhDream, truly, you live up to your name. Such an incredible artist, wonderful actor, and impeccable director. So I'm excited to share that with you. And once again, we have this 1, 2, 3 punch cast. We have Bree Klauser, Anne-Marie Morelli, and Gaia Visnar. Anne-Marie and Gaia also directed for us during the week. So now you're going to get to see their acting chops as well. So, all right, enough talk. I would like to just hand the stage over to the artists. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please sit back, relax, and enjoy Conor Hanney's Cross.
Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Morelli, and I'll be playing Alicia, the mother of Chase, a 17-year-old cross-country athlete. I have shoulder-length brown hair, fair skin, dark eyes, and I am wearing a gray sweater with a string of pearls.
Hello, my name is Gaia Visnar. I'll be playing Coach Jamie tonight. I have fair skin, dark brown hair, long, currently braided, and I'm wearing a teal hoodie.
Hi, my name is Bree Klauser. I will be playing Chase. I have fair skin, dark brown eyes. I am wearing a gray beanie with wispy brown hair with blonde highlights sticking out. I'm also wearing a gray hoodie with a pink shirt underneath and a metal medallion necklace.
Scene 1.
Coach Thomas.
Hi, Jamie, please.
You've earned the title. You should wear it with respect.
Oh, I wouldn't say earned as much as volunteered because no one else would.
Well, I appreciate it. The girls do too.
Happy to. I mean, they're great.
Grace, Chase has really enjoyed it.
Well, yes, I appreciate you coming in and talking.
Of course. No sense going to Hollis and getting you in trouble. You didn't do anything wrong.
No, well, okay.
And emails can come off as so harsh. When I really do appreciate you and everything you've built here.
I really haven't built much.
This just wasn't a conversation I wanted to have over the phone.
Yes, well, I'm happy to talk.
So, Chase told me she told you what she told you. And, well, I said there is no way you would go for that. And she said, well, yes, actually, you did go for that. And I just wanted to set the record straight.
Well, yes, and I've already spoken to Coach Rivera, and he's been perfectly fine
So-
with it.
My daughter didn't lie to me.
Chase was not, no.
Okay. Well, I'm saying, this is not something that you're going to get into trouble for not doing. So there's not really any need.
Really not any need?
No, you can just keep Chase on the girls' team and it won't be a big thing. Chase has no desire to get you into any trouble. She loves you.
Well, okay, but is that something what Chase wants to do?
That's very kind of you, but Chase has no idea what she wants on any given Sunday. She's 17. She operates on a series of whims. The other day, she told me she wanted to go to trade school.
Well, I really don't see the problem with it.
Well, maybe you don't, but I don't want my daughter to forego a full bright futures to become
No,
a
I mean, I don't mind having Chase run with the boys. And Coach Rivera doesn't care.
Well, of course he doesn't care. It's no skin off his teeth. But I am asking you, as her mother, please, who is coming to you directly? Just finish the season as usual. And no one will be coming for your head.
Well, I'm really not concerned about me either way. It's just, if he wants to, we can let him.
There's a reason they run in different races, right?
Well, yes.
And why is that?
Well, so that not everyone is running all at once, all into each other. That's why they separate JV too. But the dual meets, we do start all together.
And it would be annoying and dangerous, maybe, for the boys to have to weave their way through twice the amount of people. And it would be annoying and dangerous for the girls to be constantly passed for 5 kilometers.
The slower ones, yes.
Which they mostly are, yes?
Not all of them, no.
But most all.
Sarah just PR'd in 1842.
Yes, well, the rest can't run sub 21.
But there's no time limit in high school cross country, Alicia.
Mrs. Hamilton, please. We do acknowledge, though, that there are differences between men and women, in sports especially.
Okay.
No, not okay. Yes. So there are reasons, right? There are reasons for these accommodations based on biological differences. Men generally have bigger hands, longer legs, more muscle mass, literally stronger bones. So why would we acknowledge and accommodate and accept that reality sometimes and then choose to ignore it other times?
You know a lot about sports.
Thank you. Did Chase tell you? I carry a baseball and a Sharpie everywhere I go in my purse. So that when I see athletes at the airport, most of the time people don't know who they are, but I get their autograph and they just love it.
Okay.
I met George Brett at the Delta Sky Lounge in Atlanta.
Mm.
The Pine Tar game.
I'm sorry, I barely know cross country. I just came here to teach chemistry and they made me sign up for something.
And I hate that you're caught up in all this mess, but
It's no mess. There's no mess. Chase
no.
just asked to switch, and it's even the same jerseys.
So let's just say that Ryan Murphy decides he wants to swim backstroke for the women's team USA. Would that be fair? Or Connor Bedard wants to play women's ice hockey? Or Sean O'Malley decides he wants to choke and kick women for the rest of his career.
I really don't know who any of those people are.
But it would be a slippery slope, yes?
What would? Somebody from a high school JV women's cross country team going to a high school JV men's cross country team?
You know what I mean.
No, I really do not.
She's going to get teased at the races by her teammates.
The boys' team is very nice.
And then at the races, she's going to get embarrassed. The whole pack of boys will come in, right? I maybe there'll be a straggler or two, some big kid that everyone cheers in for posterity. But then my daughter will come around the final turn to the final stretch. And at first, everyone will cheer her in. But then she'll come into focus because she started so very far away. Cross country is a really crap spectator sport. And everyone will make this face. Processing. Oh, I get it. And then some of the cheers will get louder, arbitrarily, weird. But then some of the cheers will definitely stop. And now, in addition to being out of breath and dehydrated with borderline heat stroke and cortisol running through her genetically smaller veins, my daughter will now also be embarrassed to be in the skin that she's not even sure she wants to be in.
I really don't think anyone cares that much.
It's my job to care that much. I gave birth to her out of my biologically different cervix. You teach that, yes?
I teach chemistry.
What if she was good?
Good?
Good at cross country. What if Chase was actually good at this sport that you're supposedly coaching her in? Because I feel like you're putting up less of a fight because she's bad. And I think Mike would throw a flag if the shoe were on the other foot and he was losing someone good. But from both of your perspectives, it's a no-brainer, easy win. Buys you both social capital and costs you nothing. Because no one is going to put you under fire except me, because no one cares when a trans athlete is bad. And what about if it was the other way around? What do the boys run? What if they started coming in and obliterating every record you've helped put up on the board? How would that make you feel?
But that's not what's happening.
And that's very convenient for you.
Listen, I have to start my class.
Talk some sense into my daughter, please. She likes you. You're very good to her. Or I will have to loop in Ms. Hollis and Dresbick and whoever it takes to protect my daughter.
Scene 2.
They ran out of cheese sticks, but I got you an extra tuna if you want.
No, thank you. But thank you for bringing tuna into the lab.
No problem.
You know, if you ever want to bring folks in here with you, you can. They don't even have to be from the team or from the class.
Oh, thanks, but easier to get my stuff done without anyone bugging me.
All right. Your mom came in this morning.
Why?
Oh, she wanted to talk to me.
What in God's green butthole could Keisha possibly want to talk about?
Well, it
I'm allowed to eat
was.
lunch here.
Yeah, no. It was about the team.
Oh my God, I wouldn't have said if it was okay. You said it was okay. I wouldn't have said if it was okay.
No. Yeah, she's. Mm. It's just. Are you sure this is something you want to do?
Yes?
And you're sure?
Are you sure?
Well, it's just. What if it doesn't go the way you want it to go?
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
So the boys' team. What if they don't react the way they should react?
Like what? They're gonna punch me?
No, what? No. No,
Coach, Coach T, the boys cross country team at Nice might literally be the tamest collection of people on the planet.
yes, I know.
They have a collective BMI of 4. Josh still has bruises on his shins from elementary school.
But what about the locker rooms?
I'm already using the boys' room.
No, but I mean the locker room. And in the morning, when the morning workouts start, the showers.
What? They're gonna fuck me?
No, what? Chase,
I can
no.
handle a shower. Half of them are still wearing boxers anyway, Cody said. And even if I do let it fly, they're probably fascinated by what I'm working with.
Okay, but couldn't it make them or you uncomfortable?
Like it's gay? Coach Thomas, look, I know this is Florida, and not even cool liberal Jewish Florida. But you must understand the basic reality of every boys' locker room in every school in every state of this country. It's the gayest place you've ever seen.
Chase.
My friends at camp were telling me what they do at BK. They do this thing called goading, which is like Silence of the Lamb, where they tuck it all back and clamp it in and hop around.
Chase.
They do this thing called a wristwatch, where they take their dicks and wrap them around their wrist, and then they walk up to someone not suspecting and ask them for the time.
Stop, Jesus.
Oh, and they play this game called soap soccer, where they actually, in real life, strip down naked, rub themselves down with bar soap, then play soccer with it on the floor, slipping all over each other's and playing D by grabbing buttholes.
Chase.
Coach Thomas, I love you, and I hear you, but I will be fine.
So you're definitely wanting to, for sure.
Yeah, dude. I do genuinely appreciate it. And I'm sorry about Keisha. But please, do not worry about me.
Okay.
Scene 3.
Mom? Mom? How? Where the fuck do you get off going to my school?
Excuse me?
You went to talk to Coach Thomas to what? Incept her?
I don't know what that means.
Honestly, Mom, who is hurt by what I'm doing? Who is actually physically hurt?
This may come as some surprise to you, Chase, but not everyone is as comfortable as you are with someone cross-dressing.
It's the same jersey and it's not cross. Okay. Maybe some people will be weirded out or scandalized in the panhandle where they've only heard like rumors of gay people ever existing, but even so, that's not hurt.
The boys on the team, then. You think they want this attention?
Kinda. Do you know what the cross country boys team at Allentine East High School is known for? Having the highest GPA of any team at any school in the state of Florida.
Well, that's great.
No, it's not. They're fucking nerds. So I hope this gives the prestigious Ponte Vedra recorder something to write about so that old men with leathery foreheads grabbing their crawler at the gas station have something interesting to pick up and then immediately put back down because they don't want to pay for a whole paper.
Why do you even need to run it all?
Because
It's not exactly helping your resume to be the worst on even the girls' team.
maybe it's fun. Maybe it's therapeutic. Maybe you stress the shit out of me with this stuff, and it's nice to run slow and alone and get the cortisol out of my system. Plus, everyone gets a letter if you do every 4 years.
You want something you didn't earn.
Yeah, sure. If it's fun and doesn't hurt anyone, who is hurt by this?
Me. You're hurting me. Sometimes you can be so freaking selfish.
How is this about you?
I'm your mother. Your female woman mother. How do you think it's going to look at Mother's Day Mass when I'm getting my rose from Monsignor Danaher and he sees you who don't even want to be or respect the thing that your mother is?
I haven't been to church in 4 years.
Yeah, and that's also got to change back.
I'm not changing back and forth like some goddamn reversible sweatshirt.
Some people do change more than once. I've seen.
Yeah, sure, if they want to. Why do you care?
Why are you ashamed of being a woman? What is so horrible about us?
Your shoes hurt and are bad.
Well, then what's so great about being a man, huh? One of those leathery, four-headed old men at the gas station.
They get to sit in the sauna at the lodge, spread eagle, while their wives go shopping with their daughters at Talbot's for shoes that are bad.
Well, as long as you're my daughter, you're
Fuck
gonna
off!
Chase.
How fucking tough is it for you to not go absolutely out of your way to do that? To not careen your tongue, to just call me what I've been asking to be called, and to cross 4 lanes of linguistic traffic and then slamming into the median with a dead name.
I don't know what that means.
Then learn what it means. People learn things. You learn the Pittsburgh Penguins' entire 4-line roster every goddamn season. You can learn like 4 new words.
The difference, Claire, is that I have been calling you my daughter for 17 years.
Well, Jacksonville used to be called like fucking Cowford before it was called Jacksonville. And guess what? No one calls it that anymore. You know why? Because Jacksonville didn't want to be called that.
You know, you're being ridiculous.
Okay. Who is the greatest boxer of all time?
Chase, I'm not.
Just name it. The greatest boxer of all time.
Muhammad Ali.
And his birth name was?
Chase, I know what you're doing, but
And
it's
then
not.
he changed it, and everyone was fine with it, and no one was hurt.
I'm sure Cassius Clay Sr. was hurt when his son abandoned his same name.
Well, his dad also beat his wife, so...
Chase.
Look, Mom, I promise no one is going to care. Monsignor Donaher might, but he'll live for probably another 2 years because all priests die at 70 for some reason, despite supposedly having in with God. This is not the type of thing that makes headlines. And not every trans person needs to be a hero or a figurehead or someone gets a weird airport autograph from. You said it yourself. I'm bad at this. But true inclusion is inclusive of people being able to be trash at something. In the spectrum of gender, I'll just be that trans kid who is so terribly bad at cross country at some weird outdoor high school in Northeast St. Johns County.
Well, no. No, you won't.
Well, yes. Yes, I will.
You are starting at Carrollton after the break.
I'm
I've already paid your first tuition and I had your transcripts transferred.
what Marie's school in fucking Miami?
I'll fly you back up for the holidays.
Mama. I am not going to an all-girls Catholic school with my weird lesbian cousin in Miami.
You are 17 years old in the state of Florida, young lady. And you will go and do exactly where and what I say.
End of play.
Oh, I will tell you why I chose this play to close how should I say, the virtual live part of this. This play, there's a lot here, and there's a lot to talk about. So let's bring everyone back on so we can get to it. Come on, everyone. Wow, amazing work. And yeah, it's pretty powerful play, I think, in a lot of ways, because it really says a lot of our times. And I'm just incredibly, I can't wait to talk about it and talk about this experience with all of you. Conor, this is your first time that you're working with us. I think you're an amazing artist and an amazing writer, and I just want to know what your experience was like working with this group, and how did you come up with this? Tell me what you were talking about that brought all this together for you.
Sure. Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You're surrounded by a lot of really talented people, and so I didn't really need to do much past write it, and then they took it and made it cool. Yeah, my AhDream's been really gracious in letting me just sort of come in and shadow and watch things periodically, but really just like in the process, more of like a fly on the wall, and here to police pronunciations of like random specific references to my hometown. But yeah, no, otherwise I feel pretty useless, but that's a good thing. Let's just let people do what they're good at, and I'll stay out of the way. Yeah, I'm sorry, what was your second question? My apologies.
No, how did you formulate this story? Where did this come? How did this come about? I'm sure there had to be some discussion amongst the group, which certainly fed into this. I always like to talk about that and see how the threads have been woven together. But what prompted you to write specifically about this, especially because it's very topical? It's very much in you're reading a lot about how right now they want to sort of you have what would be considered biological males, biological females, that they want to compete together, or they say, why shouldn't we be able to compete together? And I'm just curious about how what made you write this?
Sure. So we started with that first discussion meeting. Everyone here had already known each other. I was the newbie, and everyone was really nice and welcoming. And then we just talked for about an hour or so over Christmas break, when I know I was on a writer's retreat in Maui, and we were spread across, I think, 12 hours worth of time zones. And yeah, just a discussion of gender sort of monopolized the discussion in a good way, because it was interesting. And towards the end of that, AhDream and the team were sort of like, yeah, maybe try something in this ilk and go with God. So I tried we hear a lot in the news of people being up in arms about when like a trans athlete is like happens to be very talented in their sport, and it like is perceived as an unfair advantage. But like I wanted to just ask the question, like, what if a trans athlete is bad, and like is that like what's the within like the spectrum within the spectrum of inclusion, like who would care, and why, and how, and just sort of asking those questions and having
Mhm.
three different versions of a conversation sort of along that spectrum of care. It was interesting to me.
Mhm. I think it's very fascinating. And I know there's a very wide breadth of opinions that are involved here. And I think that they're all very interesting and certainly valid to talk about. And maybe we'll talk about that a little bit, because I also, not just when it comes to gender, but there's also other, like, for example, what about a disabled athlete? What about an athlete who has a disability? Should they be allowed to compete alongside non-disabled athletes, say, for example, in the Olympics in track and field? Is that fair? Is that equal? Is it right? I mean, I think there's a lot to really talk about and unpack. But I find what I love about this play is it really covers that topic, which is quite juicy, and also really the whole concept of the lack of communication, in this case between the generations, and how we all come to terms with that. So yeah, you sort of managed to touch on all of it, which I find amazing. So thank you for really bringing this to us. Really wonderful piece.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, no, it's great. So AhDream, you had this opportunity to direct this. Tell me about, like, I know that everybody had a hand in this, I think, at least certainly some input about it in the beginning. What tell me how you felt, and how you through the whole process, the development of it. Tell me what this was like for you.
Yeah, I think one of the beautiful things about living in New York is you get to meet all different types of people, and you get to hear, personal experiences, that I think sometimes, unless you're following a particular person on social media, or you're kind of just plugged into certain ways of thinking, you miss it. And even on the internet, things can be very curated. And I just remember speaking to someone who was in the process of preparing to have face reconstruction surgery on their face, like to have more feminine features. And they were explaining the process, and like, they cut your face and then pull it down and like literally chisel on the bone and file it, and then they'll just sew your face back up, and then like the healing time for that, the cost for that, and the impact of being someone to have to go through that, and then you have no support from family or friends. And I was blown away by like all of the information, but just deeply saddened at the end of the conversation, because I was like, I think the bigger thing, the bigger piece that's being missed is everybody's focusing on the issues and forgetting about the people. Like, if people would just let people be, I don't think there would even need to be a need to change or transition, because it wouldn't matter. It's just like, if I'm feeling masculine today, then that's just what it is. Like, it's not hurting you, it's not bothering you. I'm over here minding my business and drinking my water. Like, but we live in a world where the reality is people project their lack of self-expression, their lack of freedom, their oppression on other people. And I don't remember exactly what was happening in December, but I think I was reading about Adam and Eve in the Bible, just the beginning, and just really ruminating in that story. And I was just like, if we were all created perfectly, God knew us before we were formed, then there's nothing that needs to be changed. And you should be able to show up, feel how you feel, and that be okay. But there's a bigger implication, which I think we get to see in Alicia's character, that like parents and family and friends, all of a sudden your choices then become an indictment on them. Like, oh, I did something wrong, or oh, you don't like how you look because of me, and if you are a reflection of me, what does that say about me? And so I thought it was like you said, Connor did a really excellent job of not only interweaving this intergenerational conversation, but how like the perspectives change not only from generation, but also like domestically versus internationally. And we were just kind of playing with like how the coaches, not from America. So like that's also a different context, and in some parts of the world, like it's okay to be two-spirited. It's okay to, occupy or move through different modalities of expression, and it's not the end of the world. In some cultures, men wear skirts, and it's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? So it was a joy to, I think, be in alignment, and just the whole group was very kind of passionate. Everybody had their very specific, clear point of view, their own personal connection to it in a way. And so it really just made my job very easy because everybody already was clear on like where their character was going,
Yeah, I agree. I think that they were very cleanly drawn, obviously, in terms of you really do get in a very short time. Again, once I always have to just say, so many people over the years have said, yeah, there's the short play form is dead. Why do you want to continue doing short plays? Short plays, there's no time to develop characters. They become like sketches, and I'm like, I don't agree with that. And the plays that we've done this week just are a testament to that. That you can create these really wonderful pieces with a really nice arc that shows very clear characters and definition, that really kind of have a great message or pack a solid punch in a very short period of time. And I know it's sometimes a challenge to write. I think maybe a very tough challenge to write because you don't really have a lot of time to expand on it. But the fact is, it's quite a great form. And I just want to continue doing it. Obviously I like longer forms as well, but this is exciting, especially for what we're doing here.
Yeah, and I think too, how you all go about doing it is what makes it special, and I think is what makes it functional to have the writer actually write for the actors. So then we're not spending 2-3 weeks, okay, how do we build these people from scratch, or craft these people from nothing, which you have the luxury to do in a full form production. And so I think coming in with the basis that, all right, there's already some, little seasoning here and a little seasoning there, some wording, some phraseology that these actors have said, it just makes it that much more easy to kind of get the ball rolling.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. It's also the fact too that we also want our writers, especially in this case, to write for this platform and not try to overextend it. We had a discussion about that last night, and how if writing a play involves a suspension of disbelief for the audience, going into a space, looking at a stage and saying, okay, we're in a different place in a different time right now, and I'm going to give myself over to that so I could be absorbed into the life of this play. That's a great thing. However, when you try to use a play that was written for the stage on Zoom, it doesn't translate, because now you're looking at 6 boxes, static boxes, right, and it becomes harder to accept that these people are in the same space. It's sort of a bridge too far. So if you take that out and say, we're writing for this, now it sort of levels it off to that center again. And that, to me, I find interesting. And then I like to say, okay, this was a great Zoom play. How do we transfer this to the stage? Is it possible? And in some cases it is, in some cases it's not. And that's okay too. So I just find this work pretty fascinating, because we don't want this to be film or TV. We don't want to rely too heavily on cameras and tricks and techniques to, like, as the director, you want to point, you get on television or film to edit it and say, this is where I want you to look. Right. In this case, that is a big reliance on the actors that are doing that as well. So it's really fascinating. All right. I have to ask the actors, because again, I think this is a really great play, and I want to know how you felt about it, performing it, when you read it, et cetera, et cetera. That is fascinating to me because it is a very interesting and controversial topic. And you all took very distinct sides on this topic, which I think is also fascinating, which that has nothing, what the roles you played, of course, don't have anything to do with how you feel about it. But I'm just curious about what you thought. And I'm going, well, I want to start with Anne-Marie on this one, because yeah, got to start with you, because you get to play the uptight, ultra conservative mom from Florida who just can't handle it. So
Yeah, kid.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, it's not me.
Uh-huh.
I actually spoke with a friend and about this script. And first of all, I love this script. I think it's very timely and just so interesting, and there's so much in it. There's just so much to wrap your head around and just chew. But I spoke with a friend, and they came up with this idea, which I don't know if it came off, but and especially like in the scene with Chase,
Mhm.
that I'm very religious.
Okay.
No, I mean, I couldn't go that far, but the fact that why would she say, how's it going to look at Mother's Day? Like, oh my goodness, because I'm at Mother's Day Mass. And I just love, I love that Alicia was just so prepared for this confrontation with the coach. Like, she had so many bullets in her gun there, that no matter what was said to her, she had something to come back at. And yeah, I just loved it. I love the writing. I love the topic, and
Mhm.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was a lot of fun. I really did.
Yeah. I will agree.
I got to work with Bree and Gaia, who I've worked with before. So that in itself was fun.
Yeah.
So it was like old home, And I
Oh,
told her she could be my daughter, which is probably, I even said that when we met with Conor. So I was like, I'm old enough to be your mother. And I say that to her all the time.
well, there you go. But yeah, I think it's great. I agree. It's fun to see you play a sort of a scorned tight ass of a mom, I think that's very, very fun to see that. Uh, Gaia, tell me how you felt about this, being the coach, sort of the one in the middle. I'm
Yeah,
curious about that.
I loved it. And I think I could have played her as more judgmental of the mother, but that's not who I am. And the way I read it, the first time I read it, I thought that it was really well written for me, because I am that kind of a pedagogue, or even a teacher, or a figure that will accept everybody the way they want to be, and really support for them to shine the way they are. Um, and also the mother, I kind of understand the mother too, in a way, because she comes from a system. But I just don't want to, I kind of not don't take sides. And
Mhm.
I think it could be played differently, but this is how I would play it. So I really related with it from the beginning. And I
Mhm.
am oftentimes the pacifier, or like the mediator between people, making them see different sides, I guess.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting and fascinating, but the point is, even though you may agree or disagree with any one perspective in this, all of the perspectives have a certain validity to them.
Yeah.
Whether it is sort of the traditional views, or the views that are very, very modern and very contemporary progressive, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to
Right,
say.
because you see this mom's monologue about the race. She really envisions all this and she really cares. She's really concerned about this, right?
Mhm. Yes, of course. I think it's just a fascinating, really fascinating topic. I think it's a tough topic now because part of it also reflects, believe it or not, a polarity that exists in our world, and it only underscores that polarity even more. And that's tough because how do we have a meeting of minds and come together when we're dealing with an extreme polarity? And the hard part of this polarity is the more one side pulls away, the more the other side pulls away. So how far do we pull it before we break? When do we find the middle ground that says, okay, this is what it is, and how do we coexist? I think all of the plays that we've dealt with, and this one, I think most especially, tries to underscore a thing an element that we need each other. As human beings, we cannot exist without each other. And we're all the same. I don't care what anyone says, despite, and the fact that we're all different makes us all the same. And if we can't see the similarities, then the differences don't matter. The differences only will force us to say, you're not me, you're an alien, you're an other. You're not in my club, you're not in my tribe. And that is something that's got to change. So how do we do that? How do we do that?
Theater and education. I did a lot of theater and education, and we were working on those things to show that the basic human emotions are the same for everyone. We all have the same basic human needs, and going
Mhm.
to what AhDream said about Adam and Eve, it all,
Yeah, it is the same. And I think that's important. I think the ideas of um, the traditional roles of gender in our society, that's something that's got to go. I mean, I think that's very, very important. I think we're at that point. I think a lot of people, um, there's the willingness to say I am neither male or female. I'm somewhere in the middle is a form of protest of saying we need to get rid of the traditional roles in society. I will agree with that. I think that's very, very important. Um, uh, and also I think there's a part of it is also that quest for self-discovery, that quest for being your own individual person and expressing yourself as an individual. I think that's all important. Um, it's challenging for me to see someone undergo all kinds of cosmetic surgeries to help craft the body that you feel you should have, because yes, it costs a lot, it's painful, it takes a lot of time. Perhaps in the end you can say, well, look at whatever. But then, of course, what happens if you've done that and you say after that's done, this isn't me, this isn't who I envisioned myself to be, and then what? So what do we do? It's an very interesting situation. Bree, now that we need to talk to you, I know that you sort of helped to uh, uh, you sort of sparked this conversation, I think, in the early discussions. So I think that's why I wanted to save you for last on this one.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So, in our discussions, gender came up. I identify as someone who, they, she, primarily using they, them pronouns, seeing myself as someone who is more gender fluid. But what really prompted is my sister is a trans woman and has just 2 weeks ago undergone facial feminization surgery and went through that process. And with everything going on in the news, and also this story, when I read it, I don't know if I said this to you, Connor, but I read this out loud for the first time cold with my partner, who is also they them non-binary gender fluid, and we both cried
Mm-hmm.
because there are people every day just trying to exist, and there's so much hate out there, And when you think about this happening to a child, to a young adult, who, and I love Chase, and I really hope I did him did him well, because he's so spunky and so smart, and people just deserve the right to exist. And the fact that we're talking about this in the year of our Lord 2024 is just so sad.
Hmm.
And it just means, I think, we do a lot of plays, but this one like really meant a lot to me, because it is something that I, not only as a queer person, that's in my consciousness, in my news feed and everything, but is is something that, my older sister, the one of the first friends I ever had in this world, is struggling with every day of her life, and struggling for the support. So thank you for writing this play. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I think that's beautiful. And I think this kind of work, it needs to be out there. It needs to be said. It needs to be discussed. I think we, unfortunately, human beings, in spite of our great intelligence, are rather dumb. We oftentimes are very easily led. We're led by sometimes what we hear, sometimes what we see. We oftentimes have a difficult time trying to discern what do we really feel. We spend so much time up here that we don't spend enough time in here trying to go with the gut instincts of what of what makes the most sense to us. Not necessarily because it's proper, but because it feels right. I think we live in a hierarchical society that we always like to fit in with a group, and we tend to like to spurn the others, whether that is because of your race, because of your gender, because of your religion. Take your pick. There's so many ways that you can judge people or misjudge people because they are not part of your tribe or your group. And all of that fails to it fails to take into account that every one of us are many, many, many different things. And we all can identify from one day to the next as one thing or another thing. So how do we come to terms with that? I think it's just that basic ability to just say, we're all the same. We're all in the same human race. We all have the same needs. We all want to be happy. We all want to be loved. We all want to love. Those are all, we have to eat. We have to sleep. They're all basic things that all keep us in common. If we start from that, well, then none of it matters. And I'll take it back to disability. Part of the problem with disability is people make a judgment based on what they see, not by what they know. They look at you and they make a decision and say, oh, you are this. That means you can't do this. That means you don't qualify for this. And they don't look at the individual and the potential of that individual to be able to say, oh, no, I can do this. You've got to give me the chance and not just make don't prejudge me on that. And it's very much the same, I think, when it comes to race and to gender and to, it's always that ability of finding the self and having people accept you for being you. So yeah, this play is very fascinating and really stirs a pot. I found this one to be a really great hot show for tonight. I just love being able to talk about it. Tucker, thank you so much for coming on. Tucker is our tech guru, and I will say it again, Tucker, I am so grateful to you for everything and for all the work that you've been doing. You're amazing. Do you have any thoughts that you want to share about tonight's play?
No, no, no.
No. I get it. There's reasons for that, which we won't particularly get into, other than the fact that I'm just really grateful for everything that you've done. So listen, we have a few minutes left, so I'm going to ask you guys to get off camera, take a break, get a glass of water, use the restroom if you have to, because we get to start another show at 8:30 and we get to do this one all over again. So thank you all again. Conor, thank you so much. AhDream, Anne-Marie,
Thank you.
Gaia, don't go away. Come back for 8:30. And Bree, thank you so much. I want to thank all of you as well for coming on tonight and for being a part of our work. Again, so much of what we do can only, it only makes sense with you coming to see it, with our audiences. You are the final essential element that makes this work truly a theatrical experience. So I want to thank you all for coming and joining us tonight. I hope that you'll continue to join us. Tomorrow is the big how should I say, the big finish. We will be doing the in-person portion of our live and in person, when at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, we will be presenting in studio 5 brand new shows by Kate Allen, Christopher Chan Roberson, Anita Hollander, Shellen Lubin, and Jeff Tabnick. So I hope you will join us. It will be just 5 plays in succession, so it's going to be a bit of a longer program, and it's going to be so worth it. So I hope that you'll be able to come and see it. Meanwhile, we're going to be starting another show here in a few minutes, and we're going to get a chance to really dig in and enjoy Conor Hanney's play Cross that we just performed for you now. On behalf of all of us, I want to thank you again. Please go to our website, tbtb.org. You can find out all of the work that we're up to, everything that we're doing. If you really love us, click on the donate button at the top of the page. Your support is always needed, welcome, and we take it very seriously. We take that as a partnership, so that when you support us, you become a partner in the work that we create. So we really appreciate that. Anyway, I want to thank you again. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, and maybe we'll see you in a few minutes on the other side on Facebook. Thanks again so much. Have a good night, everyone, and see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Bye-bye.